Hey, beautiful people of the internet, how are you guys doing today? Hopefully great, and welcome to Budget Builds, where we use zero Forma and achieve maximum efficiency. Today's video we're taking a closer look at Harrow, aka the priest of Warframe. But this was a requested video by a subscriber. Their name is Sir. Shout out to you and thank you so much for your request. But before I continue with the video any further, guys, let's talk about our merch store. So I have an online merch store. Guys, we are selling caps, hoodies, t-shirts and a whole bunch of extra stuff. If you would like to support me or the channel any further, go and buy some merch, and don't forget to tag me on my personal Instagram account at OneManArmyYigit or at OneManArmyYigit_merch, and we'll definitely do some shouts. And don't forget to click the subscribe button for more Warframe videos. Without further ado, let's get Harrow on the road, shall we? So Harrow has one of the best kits in the entire game, just because all of his abilities synergize really well with one another. The same can be said with his passive. Now here's how it works. So whatever the shield capacity cap is for Harrow, that is doubled. Now for his number one ability we have Condemn, and what happens is that Harrow will then throw these chains onto the enemy and will hold them in place. Now for every enemy that gets affected, what's going to happen is that it's going to reinforce your own shields. So in other words, you'll then be gaining over shields, making yourself a lot more tankier. Now this ability can affect multiple enemies, assuming that they're like in line with one another, just like a collateral sniper shot. On our number 2 ability we have Penance, and Harrow basically just sacrifices his shields, and in exchange he gets an increase in reload speed and fire rate. This includes your primary and your secondary. For melee, you'll then get an increase in attack speed. So think about having a built-in primed fury in the game. More attack speed, more damage output. But that's not all Penance does. It also, for every damage that you inflict onto the enemy, you and your allies will then start to restore your own health. So this is more of a supportive based ability / versatile or self-healing ability. If you guys know me, you know that I love any Warframe out there that can, heal yourself at will. On our number 3 ability we have Thrible, and what happens is that Harrow will then channel his own energy just like a exalted based ability, and what's going to happen is the longer you channel your ability, the more energy per kill you'll get back. So let me give you guys an example. Let's say you activate Thrible and you notice that Harrow is then swinging his chain around. What's going to happen is there'll be this UI that comes up, and then you'll notice that hey, you now are getting 30 energy per second, per kill. So when you kill an enemy like normal, like a body shot, you'll then get 30 energy back. But if you guys kill an enemy, what's going to happen with a headshot, you'll then start to be getting, instead of getting like 30 energy per second, you'll then start to get 100 energy per second. So yeah, that's where Condemn plays its part. It helps you hold the enemies in place, making your life a lot easier to get those headshots. And finally, on our number 4 ability, this being Harrow's signature ability, we have Covenant. And what happens is that Harrow will then protect himself and nearby enemies from any form of damage. While Covenant is up, what's going to happen is he'll absorb all that damage and then convert it into critical chance. However, the amount of damage he can absorb and convert into critical chance has a cap of about 1500 to about 2000 damage. So basically absorbing all damage like within the hundreds of thousands is pretty pointless. But it does make your life so much easier because you can revive your teammates, you can get yourself out of any sticky situation. So while Covenant is up, you can then go and cast either Thrible, Penance, or even Condemn. So yeah, all in all, a fantastic Warframe with an amazing kit. Now let me tell you guys how it all synergizes. So Condemn holds the enemies in place, giving yourself overshield. By you having overshield, you can basically sacrifice more shield for Penance, and the more shield you sacrifice for Penance, the longer it will last. Now remember, Penance does give us an increase in fire rate. And yeah, now when it comes to Covenant is really good. So let's say you guys have got the full benefits of Covenant. What Condemn will do is that it will make your life a lot easier when it comes to getting those headshots, because remember, the crit buff that you get from Covenant only applies if you guys kill an enemy or hit an enemy in the head or any vital parts. Like I know for Eidolon hunting, if you guys shoot one of their vital points, I'm pretty confident you guys will then get a red crit. If you don't, then the head is definitely the only place. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that's how Harrow works. Let's move on to our build. Now in terms of builds, I've actually got a 2-for-1 special for you guys. Now when it comes to a Harrow, there's actually two ways that you guys can actually mod him. One is for Eidolon and the other one is for casual gameplay. Now for Eidolon, Harrow is the absolute meta because his role is pretty vital, but at the same time it is by far the easiest role to play. Now what Harrow does is essentially he will, so when you go and blow out a limb on the Eidolon, you'll notice that the Eidolon will start to scream and will start to proc this magnetic effect on you guys. Harrow's role is to purely to protect himself and his nearby allies from this magnetic effect, because remember, if a magnetic effect hits you with enough damage, it can down you guys, and if you guys do land up surviving, what's gonna happen is that you'll lose a lot of energy. And let me tell you guys, that is a big no-no. So yeah, so here are the builds. Let's start off with our casual build. Alright, so like the usual, I don't have any Forma equipped on this build because, you know, why not? And for our aura, we have ourselves Energy Siphon, you know, that way we have continuous energy regeneration throughout the entire mission. Next, we have Redirection for a bigger shield capacity, and the reason why I want to have a bigger shield capacity is because, remember, Harrow's abilities rely heavily on how much shield you guys have. So let's say you guys want to use penance and you guys have about 4,000 shield or over shields and you sacrifice all 4,000 of them, then what's going to happen is that your penance is going to last for a lot longer. So yeah. Next we have primed continuity, that way, you know, for more duration, because once again all of our abilities should last for a relatively long time. This also helps penance out and also condemn, or that being Harrow's number 4 ability. You know, the longer you guys have, the more duration you guys have, the longer his number 4 will be live, and also penance will also last a little bit longer. Next up on our list we have August Secrets and Intensify for more power strength. Now the more power strength you guys have, the faster the absorption will be, or the absorption numbers will be. So let me give you guys an example. So if I'm being honest with you, you don't really need to have much power strength, but what I prefer to do is if I'm playing casual gaming and I'd like to, you know, when I activate Condemn or Harrow's number 4, I would prefer to actually red crit it, have a red crit buff on it, because the more power strength you guys have on Harrow, the greater that multiplier for damaging, you know, for damage absorption will be. So yeah, that means that you guys can, like, you know, require less damage in order to get into red crit territory. Hope that makes sense. And next we have ourselves the Streamline for more efficiency, that way we don't get caught with our pants down. Next we also have a Vitality, because, you know, we don't want to die as easily, because if you guys, enemies will definitely be able to get through your overshield even if you have like 4,000 of it. It's not exactly the most tankiest, but if in the case that the enemies do get through your redirection, then, you know, Vitality is that second line or last line of defense. So basically think of it as a alert telling you, hey, get yourself out of that sticky situation as quick as possible or else you're gonna die. And finally we have Stretch for more range. Now the reason why we want more range is because thanks to Harrow being more of a support / utility frame, you definitely want to, you know, support your teammates in some way or form. So like Penance will definitely help your teammates out, because, you know, if you're playing as Harrow, you kind of have a bit of a supportive role / you know, aggressive role. So yeah, more range means, you know, helping your allies out or helping out the homies. And yeah, moving on to our Arcanes department, ladies and gentlemen, I'll always stress this out because I still to this very day get comments about, how is this budget build? He has a rank 5 Arcane Energize. Yes, you're right, I have an rank 5 Arcane Energize, but that's because, you know, I've been playing the game for a long time. But that's not my point. My point is, if you do not have any Arcanes, it is not the end of the world. This build will still work. Here I'm just telling you guys, if in the case that you guys do have Arcanes, here's my advice. So I am running Arcane Energize, you know, that way I don't run out of energy and I can replenish it. And for our second slot, it's entirely up to you guys, but I went with Arcane Velocity, that way I can have more damage output for my primary weapons or secondary weapons. I'm not too sure what the Arcane does exactly, but I know that Arcane Velocity just allows me to have more damage output, because, you know, that's what mainly his abilities do focus on, is red crit headshot multiplier. I mean, his number 1 helps it, his number 4 helps it, so on and so forth. And so yeah, you don't have to have Arcane Velocity. Arcane Guardian's also a great ulterior if you want to be a lot more tankier, but you know, this is my personal opinion. Remember, my build is not the be all to end all of builds, so build to your heart's desire. Alright, excuse me. So yeah, moving on to our Eidolon build, it's a little bit different. So what I'm rolling around is with Corrosive Projection, that way the Eidolon has less armor. Remember, the less armor a enemy has, the easier it is to kill them. But you don't want to make sure the Eidolon has 0 armor, otherwise you're not going to be dealing the 25% additional damage. Instead, you're going to be dealing 50% rather than 75%. So yeah, I've got Corrosive Projection on, and I've got Correction Drift. Now, what Correction Drift does is it just makes your aura a lot more effective. So instead of, like, you know, reducing the armor of the Eidolon by 18%, it's going to reduce its armor by like 22%. Not a huge buff, but it's still better than nothing. Because remember, you don't want to like reduce the entire armor, you still want to make sure that the Eidolon has like 1% armor or something like that. Now next we've got ourselves a Redirection and a Vitality, a Vigor, that way we've got more health, more shields, because remember, during an Eidolon hunt there's going to be a lot of damage raining down on you and your team. And I do know that there's a trinity, but having extra, you know, defensive mods is definitely a, you know, a win in my books. Because let me just say, if you guys do go down doing an Eidolon hunt, you don't want to, like, you know, get your teammates to focus on reviving you instead of just focusing on reviving or taking out the Eidolon. So yeah, more armor means, you know, easier life for you guys. Next we have an Intensifier and Augur Secrets for more power strength. Now remember, more power strength means that your multiplier for your number 4 will be increased, or you don't have to take that much damage in order to immediately start red critting. Now more power strength is pretty useful on Harrow, especially because when you guys have taken out all the limbs and you have to shoot the Eidolon in the head, what I prefer to do is I like to give the DPS more damage. That way, you know, he can like take out the Eidolon in just like one shot, or a lot fewer shots than normal. So yeah, more power strength equals, you know, more critical chance. Next up we have ourselves a Prime Flow for a bigger energy pool. You know, that way we don't have less restriction on our abilities. Now in the Arcanes department it's a lot different. Now I'm running around with a maxed out Arcane Nullifier. Now the reason behind Arcane Nullifier is because during an Eidolon hunt there's going to be lots of magnetic damage that you guys are going to be facing. So what Arcane Nullifier does is it basically gives you almost 100% resistance to magnetic damage. Now when you guys are in the plains of Eidolon, you fight an Eidolon, it'll try and proc you with magnetic damage. If you guys are playing at night, you'll notice that a lot of the water has magnetic damage. By you touching that and by you having this arcane on, you don't have to worry about your energy source taking any form of a hit. And next up we have ourselves Arcane Guardian, because you know I want to be a lot more tankier during this huge encounter, because there'll be lots of damage that will be raining down on you and your allies. So yeah, now I'm well aware that I forgot to mention that for my casual Harrow build that, you know, I'm also using a Prime Flow, and I'm pretty sure I explained it on the Eidolon part, but basically you want to have Prime Flow because, once again, me personally, I do not want to have any form of restriction on my energy whatsoever. So yeah, now a regular flow does work. You don't have to have primed flow. Flow or prime flow, they're both fantastic. The whole point is you just want to have a much larger energy pool. So let me show you guys how to have some real fun when it comes to Harrow. So basically what I like to do is I like to run around with the Piranha Prime. And if you guys activate Penance, you'll notice that your reload speed and your rate of fire will be a lot faster or be increased. And on top of that, the Piranha Prime has like this special passive where if you guys get 3 rapid kills, you'll then pull out a secondary Piranha, making it akimbo or dual-wielded Piranha Primes. But not only that, your rate of fire is also significantly increased. So by combining the Piranha Prime's passive and Harrow's Penance, you'll then have a crazy dual-wielded pistol shotguns. But let me tell you, the fun comes in this. Go into like an Axie Fisher, hope and pray that your Piranha Prime is the one that gets affected by the buff, and you'll notice that, you know, you can just run around with like infinite ammo and just start spraying and praying away. But be warned, this combo right here is extremely consuming when it comes to your ammunition, and also the recoil can be quite crazy. Now when it comes to damage, it's actually pretty decent. I wouldn't say it's too bad, but you know, you continuously have to hope and pray that there's like butchers around or any enemies that have like a very low health pool, and then you'll definitely always be able to like take advantage of this. Not exactly the end game material, but definitely the damage is there if you can always just proc that, you know, that increased attack speed or an increased fire rate. If you guys want to increase the fire rate any further, I suggest you guys go and put on special arcanes, like, you know, ones that are specifically meant for increased in fire rate. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have for today's video. If you guys have liked it or you've genuinely enjoyed the video, remember to leave a like and don't forget to spot and click the subscribe button for more Warframe videos without, I'ma make like a banana and splits.